Alright, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel once again. So, I'm recording this after the Game Awards. I watched a decent amount of them, but I was too busy actually playing video games instead of watching people glorify video games. You all know from my last video that I don't have a super fond nature towards award shows in general. So, I decided instead to play actual video games, instead of watching an awards show where people get angry that their favorite game didn't win a Game of the Year award, when in reality it's about the game, not about the award. Anyways, I think the Game Awards are more important for the reveals, the actual video games that we get to look forward to. That being said, it was kind of a snooze fest. The show was probably the best organized it has been, and it probably had some of the better skits than last year's. Last year's was pretty much a cringe fest through and through, aside from when Kratos and his son, those two voice actors, they were both on stage, and then Kratos said, "Read it, boy." That was a good part. Other than that, it was a pretty lackluster show in terms of the skits. I think the skits landed much better this year overall, and I think the show overall just flowed a lot better. Problem was that there wasn't really a lot of gameplay from any video games, and to me only 3 games stood out, and one of the games is actually one I've been looking forward to quite some time, and it's one I'm actually going to talk about the trailer in this video, because I think there's a lot of interest going around, but I don't think a lot of people have been exposed to this game until tonight. And this is New World, being developed by Amazon Game Studios. I don't know what else they've done, but I've actually been looking forward to New World for quite some time, because it is essentially what I think people are seeing as the first sort of next generation sandbox game. And it really is coming out next year, so I believe next year is probably going to start a really, really high level of graphic fidelity, though. With the recent reveal of the Fast and Furious game, I'm starting to doubt that, really. But New World, just from gameplay, from really early gameplay that has been allowed, it does look like a really good game. And, I'm a survival games guy at heart. Like, I like first-person shooters, and unfortunately survival games are kind of few and far between, as in there are pretty much no good survival games past Minecraft and maybe DayZ. But there are no really good survival games with that sort of gameplay. And New World is looking to be, I think it's still shaping up to be a really good game. The pre-orders are up. It looks like it's going to cost $40, which is expected, but it's being made by Amazon Game Studios, though. And the fact that they're pricing it at $40 is slightly surprising, considering it's going to have that AAA quality. So maybe Amazon is going for something like Hellblade, where they're giving that AAA quality at a sort of mid-tier price, which is respectable. I like that it's only $40, and it's supposedly going to be launching in May of 2020, so it's actually pretty close from now, only about 5 months. You can pre-order it to get access to the closed beta, which is only a month ahead, and I see no real point in getting the closed beta, but since it's only a month ahead, and April is going to be a stacked month of video games. If you've looked at the release dates in April for 2020, it's probably one of the most stacked months I've ever seen for video game releases. And I mean, heck, if I know of, probably the only game I'll be playing in April of 2020 is Cyberpunk. That's just about it. Maybe if something before that happens, I don't know. Anyways, so New World, as I said, is an MMO. At its heart, it's been kind of marketed as this open world MMO sandbox. And it's being developed by Amazon Game Studios, and as far as I know, it is going to be blending survival and RPG elements, and there's going to be like crafting, and there's going to be a whole it just sounds like the type of game that I'd really enjoy. There's going to be faction building, faction wars. I think there is just going to be straight up building, but I think there are also preset buildings. There's like a lore to the world. It's not just like a Rust or a Daisy where you essentially have to create your own game. Like I believe, from what I understand, they have created a world for you, and you just kind of have to inhabit that world and find out what's going on. It's set in the 17th century, so it's actually set in a very similar time period to one of my favorite third-person RPGs of this year, Greedfall, which is kind of interesting that this game has probably been in development way before, or maybe around the same time as Greedfall, but I'm glad that more developers are kind of exploring this time period, because not really a lot of games have explored the 17th century during the exploration of the New World. Greedfall took it in a little bit of a different direction. I think New World is kind of more directly associating itself with the exploration of the New World, as is suggested, but there's a bit of a fantasy theme to it as well, with weird like grass creatures. There's this really cool part in the beginning of the trailer that you'll see. I'll be running the trailer in the background. Hopefully that's not a no, but usually this type of stuff isn't really looked upon as bad. I've done plenty of this stuff. I did it for E3, so Game Awards are essentially no different, right? Anyways, there are these weird grass creatures, and like I like the design of the creatures. If these are creatures we can like see in the world and like hunt or maybe ride even. I don't know if they plan for mounts, but like if this is a true MMO, I hope it doesn't go like the World of Warcraft route with the stupid UI. From what I've seen, and obviously I've only seen early gameplay, but from what I've seen, it does look like the game is going for more of a, I don't know, to me it looked like a mixture of Greedfall and a little bit of almost this Skyrim aesthetic, but like maybe more of a Bloodborne aesthetic. But Bloodborne is set in the Victorian time period. But you know, I rest my case. The game is definitely taking most. I feel like the game can be most closely compared to Greedfall, even though the two games are entirely different. New World is going to be an MMO, like I said, so it's going to be, you can get into, from what I understand, you can get into large parties. I believe this game is being developed on Amazon's proprietary Lumberyard engine, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm also not mistaken, that is the same engine that Star Citizen is being made on. As far as I know, this Lumberyard engine is very new, and I'm gonna have to fact check this, but I believe it's being developed on the Lumberyard engine, which, if Star Citizen is anything to go by, the game's probably gonna be gorgeous. But yeah, New World is something I've actually been looking forward to for a long time. I found the game last year, and it's kind of been circling around ever since. And I wanted to get into the alpha testing, but never did. But that's whatever. I'll wait until May, because there will be plenty. Oh, trust me, there will be plenty to wait for that time. But yeah, I just wanted to give my impressions. The trailer is actually really good. It shows off a lot of different areas. I don't know if it's actual gameplay or not. It looked more CGI, but I'm sure there was something around the I'm sure there was some gameplay and some non-gameplay mixed in there, but if there's some sort of like cutscene lore to this game, I think this game will interest a lot of people more if it has an actual story, because the problem with a lot of these MMOs is that they kind of make you look for the story instead of just giving you the story in the more traditional way. And I think if this game does it right, then there will be a nice resurgence of the survival MMO, which of the likes of Ark Survival Evolved, the vomit-inducing Atlas, Rust, Daisy. I mean, those aren't definitively MMOs, because Daisy is more just survival, but with a large online audience, coincidentally enough. So, it looks to be like I'm really excited for it, honestly. Like, the new trailer just managed to raise my hype for it even more, and like the trailer did reveal a lot of lore around the game, so I'm actually really excited to see what type of story this game might conjure up, and I wonder if it'll be a dedicated online thing, or if it's something you can maybe play offline. Since it's an MMO, I'm gonna say 99% guarantee it's gonna be always online, but I'm hoping for a story akin to something like, I don't know, I mean, Path of Exile is an always online game and it has a good story. I'm trying to think of other MMOs that have a good story. That's the only one I can think of at the moment, but you know, there are plenty of MMOs that have at least a lore surrounding them. Even Star Citizen has lore surrounding it. And no, I'm not talking about Loreville, ha ha ha, very funny. Anyways, that's just my general first impressions of what New World is, and kind of overview of what it's like. There probably aren't very many channels covering this. I believe Asmongold. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching. If you want to check out New World, I'll put the link in the pinned comment. I'm trying to pin comments as soon as the videos come out. But yeah, if you want to check it out, it does have a website, and looks like it's going to be launching in May 2020 with an optional closed beta in April of 2020. So looks like 2020 is going to be a good year. I may do more videos like this. This may be the only one. Who knows? Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.